Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
I remember coming back from rehabilitation and facing this endless online form. Typing with just my left hand took forever, and if I made one mistake, I had to start all over again.
When the digital world forgets, many of us use it with a single hand or specialized devices. Stories like these become far too common.
The new interface was almost impossible to use with one hand. The buttons were tiny, and I kept pressing the wrong one. It wasn't about practice, it was about design that simply didn't consider me.
After a life-altering change, a simple button can become a frustrating target.
I lost my right arm in an accident. The hardest part wasn't only physical, it was sitting down at my computer, the tool I used every day, and realizing it no longer felt like it was designed for someone like me.
The truth is, these barriers are not a symptom of disability. They are the result of conscious choices in design and development. Hi, my friend. Welcome back to Web Accessibility for All, the podcast where we explore how to build truly inclusive digital experiences. I am Ariel, your host, an accessibility specialist, a software engineer, and a blind person who had to adapt to a new way of interacting with technology. I know what it feels like when the tools you depend on suddenly stop working for you. Today we are talking about a similar journey, focusing on how to design and develop interfaces that don't become barriers for people who use the digital world with one hand or with limited mobility in their upper limbs. Let's get into it.
Adjusting to a sudden change.
Imagine a sudden accident changing everything. They come home facing not just physical and emotional shock, but a digital shock too. They have to relearn how to live in the same online world where they pay bills and connect with family. This journey starts with physical recovery and then moves to occupational therapy, relearning how to do everything from getting dressed to using a computer. It's about accepting a new reality and getting back their sense of identity.
Common design mistakes and testing gaps.
Designers often assume people can perform complex keyboard actions. In reality, even small changes make a huge difference.
Limited or imprecise touch input.
A person with one or more amputated fingers may have difficulty performing multi-touch gestures, such as pinch to zoom, two fingers swipes, or precise long presses. The contact area may be larger or smaller than expected due to prosthetics, gloves, or a residual limb.
Complicated keyboard or mouse navigation.
Someone who has lost an arm or multiple fingers may not be able to use a standard physical keyboard, or may have to do so with only one hand. Navigating with the mouse might be painful or imprecise if there is a lack of strength in the limb. The same goes for time-sensitive interactions. Imagine an online quiz with a countdown timer or a multi-step checkout form that times out after a few minutes. For someone who moves or types slowly, these features can feel like an impossible race.
Using prosthetics and assistive devices.
A myoelectric prosthetic can activate a switch or a click, but with less speed or precision. Some people depend on switch devices, a single button for everything.
Fatigue and duration accessibility.
Many people with amputations use prosthetics or adaptations that cause muscle fatigue during long periods of interaction.
Access from alternative devices.
Some prefer to navigate with voice. Others use touch screens with a single finger.
Key assistive technologies.
Myoelectric prosthetics.
These use muscle signals to control movements like a virtual mouse. They can be slow and tire a user out quickly.
Alternative input devices.
This includes switches, adaptive trackballs, or one-handed keyboards. These require well-designed interfaces that can be navigated with a keyboard.
Voice control.
Software like Dragon Naturally Speaking lets users dictate text and control a computer with their voice. It's limited by background noise and vocal fatigue.
Eye and head tracking.
Cameras track eye or head movement to control the cursor. This technology is most effective when on-screen elements are large and have enough space between them.
Adaptive touchscreens.
Tablets with special stands allow users to interact with the screen using a prosthetic or residual limb. This can be less precise and difficult for complex gestures.
The multimodal user.
People with disabilities often don't rely on a single device. They might use a combination of tools, like voice command for navigation and a one-handed keyboard for typing. A good interface must be flexible enough to allow users to switch between these methods seamlessly. These technologies are powerful, but it all starts with semantic HTML, with built-in accessibility that just works.
What this means for development teams.
Interfaces must be switch-friendly.
Ensure navigation with Tab plus Shift, and Enter. Avoid focus traps and unreachable menus.
Voice control compatibility.
Buttons must have clear, visible or programmatic labels.
Send message.
Is much better than just an icon.
Appropriate sizes and spacing.
Large and well-spaced click targets help both eye tracking and prosthetics.
Avoid exclusive gestures.
Always provide an alternative to pinch to zoom or drag and drop.
Reduce physical and cognitive load.
Use short forms, autocompletion, and data recovery.
Official recommendations.
The W3C's Web Accessibility Initiative gives us very clear standards. WCAG 2.1 Keyboard. Everything should work with the keyboard alone. No tricky combinations required. WCAG 2.5.7 Dragging movements. Users must be able to perform actions without drag and drop. This is essential for someone with one hand. WCAG 2.5.3. Label and name. Buttons and fields should expose their label to assistive tag. This allows speech input or one-hand operations.
The importance of testing.
Jennifer Tidwell, user experience expert, adds,
testing your design with real users is key. What works in a lab or on paper may be unusable for someone with a single-hand keyboard or a switch device.
Testing is critical, but we usually fail here. We rarely test with one-handed users. Or should I say, never? Or with assistive tag like single-hand keyboards, switch devices, or voice input. So what can teams do?
Run keyboard-only tests, but simulate one-hand use.
Try to complete a form or navigate your app using only one hand on a standard keyboard. Notice the extra effort, the fatigue, and the need for more time. Now ask yourself if your app is designed to handle that reality.
Check timeouts, form resets, and error handling.
Does the form save progress? Can users fix just one field instead of starting over?
Provide alternatives to gestures.
If your UI relies on drag, pinch, or multitouch, always offer a tap or button-based option.
Closing thoughts.
If you are a developer, designer, or tester, try using your own app with one hand. Try to drag and drop a file, or use a complex gesture like pinching to zoom on a map, all with a single finger. Ask yourself, could I do this if my life had suddenly changed? I know firsthand that every design choice you make matters. Every button you size correctly, every form you shorten, every shortcut you simplify. It can give someone independence. It can turn frustration into confidence. My own life changed when I adapted to a new way of interacting with technology. You haven't lost your skills. You haven't lost your potential. With the right tools, you can do what you need to do and keep moving forward. Thanks for listening to Web Accessibility for All. I hope this episode helps you see that every small change in design can make a big difference in someone's life. Please give us a like, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.